Well, since the dissection episode for the very well-known Nessun dorma just aired in all the podcasting platforms, Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, of course on YouTube as well, you can now find that this is a very interesting episode because I think that it is always important that we understand the whole background of the area. And since it just aired, I thought, or I told myself that it would be fair to share with you uh, very a good comparison video of these areas. And I knew that they would focus on the final high note because everybody loves high notes and because for some reason people keep thinking that the most difficult part of Nessun Dorma is only the high note at the end. And to be truth and to be sincere, it is not that difficult. Most tenors reach that note. If not easily, most tenors have that note, then that leads people to believe that Nessun Dorma is almost impossible to every tenor. That is not true. What is almost impossible to every tenor is singing the complete Turandot. That's what falls beyond the reach of most tenors. And also, so I thought that I was sure that I could find a very good video on the other channel that I have shared with you, that I have recommended you in two other prior times. It is Opera Turkey. I went there because I was sure that the content was already created and we don't need to invent what has already been done and has been done very, very, very well. If I ever have the chance of meeting the owner of this channel, I would like to tell him that he does an amazing job. Here is a list of the tenors that are part of this comparison of the final part of the Nessun Dorma, which I was sharing with you. Most people think that is the most difficult part. I also want to point you in the direction of what you should be looking at in the comparison. Again, if you just focus on the high note, and if you have seen the blog entries of essentials, if you don't read music, that's why I have not mentioned what note this is, because if you read music, you already know, and if you don't read music, but you have followed our two first episodes on the essentials, now you know how to read the high of this note. So I am making it on purpose that I am not telling you what the high note at the end is. So go and check those videos. But well, the important part here is that I was telling you, I advise you to pay attention to how they wrap up. We're going to first focus on how they finish, what to pay attention to, and then I will share something else with you. So what I noticed, and that has to do with the way or the stamina of the voice, is yes, the high note, but what you do to prepare before giving that note. A good number of the tenors listed here that are part of this compilation do it fairly well. Of course, there are some that sustain the note longer, sometimes that do it nicer. Someone has a higher volume, some others do not have a higher volume, but the way they project is much more brighter. So there is a good variety of tenors how they reach the note. But going back to what I would like you to pay attention to how they prepare is that many of them take it very softly before they reach the high note. That usually it could be part of your technique, that could be part of your style, but that usually happens when the tenor's voice is weaker than required for this area. So he doesn't want to get tired and reaches the Vincerò, vincerò, vincerò. You see, like softly going for it. Heavier voices go with everything. Vincerò, vincerò, vincerò. And because they know they have the weight and they do not need to refrain themselves. So I would suggest that you pay attention to that. How is the tenor approaching? Is the ten If the tenor is approaching softly, means that the aria itself was already too heavy for him and he was afraid of cracking the note. So pay attention to that. The second thing that I wanted you to mention, but that it is not part of this compilation, but of course you can always go to your preferred tenor's recording, is because the most difficult part, from my perspective, it's not the final, because to the final you get already tired, and you get already tired because, and if you have heard the episode of the dissection I insist just aired, you can find in all the streaming platforms for this podcast episode, you will notice that I share with you that the difficult part is that this is the passage where they have to be continuously in the higher register. That's what really tires you. That's the really difficult part of Nessun Dorma. Because if Nessun Dorma was too heavy for you, once you reach the end, you are already tired or you are unable to sustain the final note. But it is not because the final note is difficult. It's because the prior passage was too tiring for the voice of the tenor. Dileguanote tramontate stelle, tramontate stelle, all'alba. You see, that prior part is what really makes difficult the aria. No, all'alba vincerò. Again, I don't want to say that it is just easy, but the tiring part is the prior one, the one that is not part of this compilation. Same thing happened when I shared with you the comparison from this same channel for the aria from Andrea Chenier. The tiring part is how the amount of times that the voice of the tenor has to hit that high register continuously in with a good amount of volume. That's the tiring part, and that's what makes or in a way defines how the tenors will hit the end of this aria. With that being said, I hope you enjoy not only this channel, not only this video that I am recommending, but if you love Turandot, I invite you to go and listen to a good recording of it. Of course, Franco Corelli is part of this compilation. Unfortunately, uh, the part of Franco Corelli for this area, from my perspective, and it is the same if you read the comments, there are some people who say that the one that was chosen for Corelli was not his best. I also agree. I have heard Corelli doing something more impressive, but for some reason, this is what was chosen. This was live, and so live recording, that means that it is true. Studio recording, it's usually tricky. Thanks for watching.